morning. My name is John Fussell. I'm a retired labor lawyer from West Hartford, Connecticut. We are gathered here this morning in support of Hicham Talal. Hicham is a 24-year-old Moroccan-American. He works in construction. He goes to school full-time and hopes to become a doctor. Hicham has been charged with an act of vandalism in connection with a demonstration in West Hartford on January 21st. Hundreds of people attended that demonstration to protest Israel's genocidal war on Gaza and U.S. complicity in that war. No arrests were made at the demonstration or immediately thereafter. 5 weeks following the West Hartford demonstration, the police informed Hicham of a warrant for his arrest. Hicham proclaimed his innocence and turned himself in to the West Hartford Police Department. Among the hundreds of people attending the demonstration in West Hartford, Hicham is the only one to be arrested. There is no reliable evidence that has been provided to link Hicham to any misconduct or any crime. We are here because Hicham is innocent. He's innocent of the charges against him. We are also here because of this baseless arrest attempts to chill the growing Palestinian rights movement. Millions of people have been marching in cities and towns throughout our nation and the world, demonstrating and demanding to stop the killing. This Palestinian freedom and justice movement demands an immediate ceasefire of Israel's war on Gaza, immediate and sufficient humanitarian aid for the starving people of Gaza, an end to U.S. military aid to Israel and U.S. complicity in support of Israel's war, an end to Israel's illegal siege on Gaza and illegal occupation of the Palestinian West Bank. The use by the state of hate crime charges against Hicham suggests an improper political motivation that immorally conflates legitimate criticism of Israel's war with anti-Semitism. Let's not forget that the International Court of Justice found that Israel is plausibly committing genocide in this war, and yet the Biden administration and our Connecticut congressional delegation continue to support Israel's assault on the Palestinian people. This killing must stop. This war must stop. And the charges against Hicham must be dropped. Several people are here today to speak in support of Hicham and against the politically motivated and baseless charges against Hicham. I now call on Leah Shian.
My name is Leah Shian, and I am speaking today on behalf of the Connecticut Palestine Solidarity Coalition as a member of our steering committee. We are a coalition of 20 organizations across the state that represent a wide diversity of Connecticut residents of many religious, ethnic, and political backgrounds. We are united in our commitment to Palestinian liberation. The coalition stands in firm support of our community member Hicham Talal, who is facing baseless hate crime charges for simply speaking up on behalf of the Palestinian people. The police in the state of Connecticut have failed to provide any evidence that links Hicham to a hate crime. I know Hicham Talal to be a generous and kind member of our community. He works in construction while also attending school full-time. He is motivated in this hard work by his dream to become a doctor and to serve our community by providing health care and healing to those in need. At 24, he is young and filled with the potential to contribute to our society in profound ways. Right now, as Hicham is targeted for his support of Palestine, that potential, that future of generosity and hard work, of service to our community is at risk. Let me be very clear. This hate crime charge against Hicham is politically motivated. It is an attempt to make an example of this young man in order to silence the voice of anyone in our state who dares to speak the truth about the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. Over the past 5 months, we have seen a rise in political repression from our workplaces and public meeting halls to our courts and our college campuses. It is not profitable for our political and corporate elites to support an end to this genocide. Not when weapons manufacturers in our state make billions off of deals with the Israeli military. Not when those same companies bankroll political campaigns and shackle our state's economy to an endless war machine. If our speech threatens their profits, they will find hate in it where there is none. If our truth-telling threatens their power, they will counter it with lies. To that we say we are not afraid. We, advocates of Palestinian liberation in Connecticut, know that justice is on our side. That every minute the siege on Gaza continues is a catastrophe. That every life lost in Palestine is unbearable. We will not be intimidated by excessive charges and lies. We will defend one another and our brothers and sisters in Palestine until Palestine is free. I would like to end by speaking directly to Hicham. Hicham, we know these charges are baseless. We know there is no hate in your heart, and we are proud of you for your continued advocacy in the face of political repression. It is your willingness to speak truth to power, to advocate on behalf of others, even at great personal risk, that tells me you will be an exceptional doctor and champion for your future patients. We will stand with you in this fight until real justice is served. Thank you for your time.
Next, call on Sarah White of the Hartford Jewish Organizing Coalition and Jewish Voice for Peace.
My name is Sarah White, and I'm a member of Jewish Voice for Peace of New Haven and the Hartford Jewish Organizing Collective. I'm here today in solidarity with Hicham Talal, in solidarity with the movement for Palestinian freedom, to say, drop the charges against Hicham and stop the repression of our movement. Hicham is innocent, and the police have provided no evidence linking him to a hate crime. What these charges are really about is the West Hartford police and the state of Connecticut trying to silence and discredit our growing peaceful movement to stop the US-backed genocide in Gaza at a time when the majority of Americans agree Israel is committing genocide and 80% of Democrats want a ceasefire. They know our words carry a truth that poke holes in our government's continued complicity in genocide. Those in power who support Israel's genocidal attacks on Gaza have lost the public. So they're resorting to the same tired playbook of state repression that's been used against movements for peace and liberation for decades. Against the civil rights movement, against movements for queer liberation and environmental justice, and especially against the movement for Palestinian freedom. It's McCarthyism, plain and simple. It's particularly disturbing to see the misuse of hate crime laws against those of us criticizing Israel's killing of more than 30,000 Palestinians. I spoke at this West Hartford march as a Jew who wants to see the end of the Israeli genocide and who supports Palestinian freedom. And I also said this, and the West Hartford police were there, which bears repeating today. I'm a Southern Jew whose family faced actual anti-Semitic violence, including cross burnings and the bombing of our synagogue. Those are actual bias crimes. And I'm here to say it's not anti-Semitic to oppose Israel. It's not anti-Semitic to oppose Zionism or to name the Israeli genocide for what it is. Calling out a financial institution for investing in a weapons manufacturer that's killing thousands of people, that's not a bias crime. That's not anti-Semitism. That's standing up for humanity, for life, and for liberation. This distortion of hate crime laws against peaceful protesters makes us all less safe, Jews, Palestinians, and Muslims alike. I am gravely disappointed and alarmed to see West Hartford police and the state of Connecticut bring trumped-up criminal charges to try to stop a movement that's about life, that's about trying to stop a genocide, something we said we'd never let happen ever again. Jewish Voice for Peace New Haven and Hartford Jewish Organizing collective demand that the state drop the charges against Hicham.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah. We next call on Omar Abdul Gad, President of the Islamic Association of Central Connecticut.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Omar Abdul Gad, the President of the Islamic Association of Central Connecticut, and in the meantime, the President of the Arabic community in the area of New Britain. The message we wanted to send as a Muslim to our youth and to Hicham: we believe you innocent, and we believe Israel is committing a genocide. The thing is, we don't believe it's what's happening to him. Hicham is from Africa. I'm from Africa. We flee the third world countries because of the politically motivated injustice. And when we appear in the United States defending Gaza, defending the kids of Gaza, and talking about the case and being the voice for the people of Gaza and Palestine, it turned out to be there is a politically motivated hate crime against Hicham, actually, and against our community. The message we wanted to send today to our youth and to everybody who come out and protest peacefully: will stand by you. And I do believe in our justice system, and I do believe Hicham is innocent. Carry it on, guys, and continue the good work. We all behind you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. We next call on Stan Heller of the Middle East Crisis Committee.
Good morning. I'm Stanley Heller, a retired school teacher, a current member of the American Federation of Teachers Union, a member of Jewish Voice for Peace, administrator of Promoting Enduring Peace, and I work for the Middle East Crisis Committee. I'm going to talk about the serious charge of intimidation on account of bigotry. The charge of a hate crime against anyone for this kind of offense is outrageous. As I understand it, the charge has something to do with a paint-like substance thrown against a bank window, the Webster Bank, a bank that has something to do with a hedge fund that invests in Elbit, this Israeli defense company. There are very good reasons that someone might dislike Elbit that have nothing to do with religion or prejudice against Jews. I know a bit about Elbit because our Connecticut Treasury has invested teacher and other public employee funds in Elbit to the tune of $900,000. And that is offensive because Elbit is Israel's biggest weapons maker. One of Elbit's products is military drones. In 2014, their Hermes drone was involved in a notorious incident at a Gaza beach, where the drone gunned down 4 cousins playing soccer. The oldest was 11. That was 10 years ago. Now they have a Linnaeus drone that can fly into buildings and open fire. On February 15th of this year, a quadcopter, almost surely built by Elbit, flew into Nasser Hospital and sprayed rooms with bullets and shot a Palestinian doctor in the head. On February 29th, Israel committed the Flower Massacre, killing over 100 on the spot with 700 injuries. Democracy Now! Reported Palestinians in northern Gaza were waiting for food aid when, quote, they came under fire from Israeli tanks and drones. Elbit drones again. Elbit is likely involved in war crimes, and we should all be furious with that company for reasons not of bias, but for respect for human life. Thank you.
We next call on Karen Prescott of Power Up, Connecticut.
Good morning. My name is Karen Prescott. I'm with Power Up Connecticut. I stand here today, a black, queer, disabled woman who stands with Hicham. I stand here today as a real victim of a hate crime. I stand here today with a heart beating, with a soul, with eyes and ears, with nose, with mouth, who can see, who can feel, who can understand what real, true hate is. A building cannot. The building cannot come here today and say the pain that it felt when the paint went on the wall. The building cannot come here today and say that it went home and cried to its children after being embarrassed by having paint thrown on them. But I, as a black woman, can stand here today and say, I know what it's like to have spit flung in my face. That is a hate crime. What the state is doing, what West Hartford PD is doing, is outrageous. And it is an attack, a blatant attack against not only Hicham, who is a man of color, but against the Palestine Solidarity Movement. We know that this is nothing new with the government. We saw it happen when enslaved Africans were told they were free and they put in slave patrols that we now call the police department. We saw what happened when we tried to pull ourselves up by bootstraps and they enacted Jim Crow. We saw what happened to Dr. King. We saw what happened to Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. We saw what happened to Assata Shakur. We saw what happened to many of the greats, and now they are trying to do it today. We saw what happened when All Lives Matter came into place and tried to demonize and vilify Black Lives Matter. What is happening here today to Hicham is nothing new under the eyes of the United States government. It's giving 1619. I stand here today to say that they need to drop all charges against this innocent man, because what you are doing is setting the precedence. You are setting the precedence that black lives, brown lives do not matter. So when we go out here, we march and advocate for us, and you try to quiet us by charging us with crazy charges like hate crimes, you are further explaining to us why we're out here. This is why we show up every day in support of Palestine. This is why we're all here today to show up in support of Hicham. Because you have continued, you, the U.S. government, you, Joe Biden, you, Kamala Harris, you, Ned Lamont, you, Chris Murphy, you, Blumenthal, you, West Hartford PD, you, State of Connecticut, you, Hartford court systems, you have continued to show us that black and brown lives do not matter here in Hartford, West Hartford, Gaza, Palestine, Manchester, Atlanta. We see it. And we call you out for your blatant hypocrisy. Yes. You can't protect black and brown lives here that are standing right here before you, but somehow you can protect the building. Hicham, you are not alone. Yeah. We will stand with you. We will stand with your family. Yeah. Palestine, you are not alone. Gaza, you are not alone. Rafah, you are not alone. Black women, you are not alone. Black men, you are not alone. Muslim Americans, you are not alone. We stand here with you, and we will continue to fight this fight.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Karim. We next call on Imam Sadaq, listed as one of the 500 most influential Muslims in America.
In the name of God, most gracious, most compassionate, we stand here today with a member of our Muslim community, Hicham Talal, to affirm his innocence, to affirm that he has done the most American of things, to dissent and protest against the tyrannical, unjust, illegal actions of our government and their international proxies. Dissent is as American as apple pie, particularly nonviolent dissent, if we allow the police, the state of Connecticut, the military-industrial complex to criminalize a young man, an innocent young man, for walking down the street, voicing his protest, no evidence or proof that he did anything other than that, then Hicham Talal is not on trial. American democracy is on trial. Because what's happening to this young man is what happens in authoritarian states and regimes, where citizens can be randomly, arbitrarily committed of crimes that do one thing: to chill and silence the voice of the people. Hicham has committed no crime. Dissent is not a crime. What should be on trial today is consent, not dissent. Those who consent to the illegal transfer of 2,000-pound bombs, iron fragmentation bombs, that rip and decapitate innocent children and women. That's who should be on trial, because the transfers are illegal. The use by the IDF is illegal. White phosphorus burning children's flesh down to the bone, using that on civilian populations is illegal. Those who consent to that illegality, they should be the ones on trial, and not this innocent young man who stands here before you today. My dear brothers and sisters, this is not about the Muslim community. It's not about so-called self-hating Jews. It's not about the Palestinian community. This is an issue that concerns every citizen here in the state of Connecticut. We should not be the ones rallying for him. Everyone in this state should be rallying for him, because I'm sure I speak for everyone in this state who says we want to live in a free, democratic society where people are free to stand up and voice their opposition to the murder, to the genocide of innocent men, women, and children, journalists, doctors, nurses, aid workers, intentionally targeted. That's who should be on trial, and all charges against this young man, Hicham Talal, should be immediately dropped. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. We next call on attorney Aaron Romano.
Thank you, everyone. And Hicham? I'm very confident with the show of the police here to protect us with our right to assemble and our right to freedom of speech, and that right, that constitutional right, will be tested in this hall of justice, and that Hicham's ability to assemble peacefully and protest and exercise his right to freedom of speech will be vindicated. And so I thank you very much for being here.